Hello, family. Come on in, come on in. We're still listening. I'm loving this new it's my theme music for some of y'all, for some of the family that are in. You can hear it has the same concept, but it's a little different, and I am really enjoying it. I need that. From today, from work and getting it all out. So I'm really enjoying it. Y'all come on in. Thank you so much. I'm trying to look and see who is in already. Make sure to like and share. Make sure to like and share. But before that, let me just go ahead and say this. Soul-U-Tions. Welcome to Soul-U-Tions, the mix where pain and purpose collide. It has been a long time, family. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how long it has been. It's been over a year. So I'm going to put on my glasses and see who is in. Let me see who's coming. And Rhonda Williams, God bless you. Good evening, sis. I'm so glad that you're in. Thank you so much. If you can, like and share this. We have an incredible conversation that's going to happen on tonight. And I am really, really excited about it. I'm excited about coming back and being back. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. It's been over a year. Can you believe it? Over a year, but we're back. We are back and ready to continue to have fruitful conversation, fruitful. You know, I would like listen to myself say that, and it seems like it's like a tongue tie to me. I don't even know why. Does anybody fruitful, fruitful conversation? That's what this platform is all about. So I need you to like and I need you to share the conversation on tonight. Is going to be really, really good. We're going to jump into it. I am so excited about this young lady. She has grown. We have known each other for many, many years. And I actually, Pastor and I are her daughter's godparents. And I'm telling you, what an amazing family and what an amazing testimony. I had spoken to her like last year sometime, maybe or earlier. It couldn't have been early this year, so it was like last year. And I said I have to. She shared her testimony when she told us about her miracle baby, and so I just wanted to have this conversation with her tonight. So I'm really excited about it. So I need you to like and share. Thank you so much, Miss Rhonda. If you're in and you shared, I need you to put I shared. And also I need you to tell me where you're coming in from. Where you're coming in from. Again, I just want to see your faces. I want to, engage, this platform. We engage with one another. So let me know where you are coming in from, and make sure to like and share. We're going to be bringing Miss Melissa in a few moments, but I just want to see a little bit more people come in. So come on in, y'all. Come on in. I don't know. I can see Facebook, but I'm not sure if I can see YouTube. So I'm trying to get in and see YouTube. See who is in. See who is in. I see. Is that Shanita? Rhonda. That's Rhonda. Okay. All right. I'm going to give it a few more minutes. I'm going to look on my side and see who else is coming in. I know it's been a minute. I know it has been a minute. And so we are excited about tonight, about this conversation. I'm excited to see your faces. We're going to be doing some more stuff. I know that I generally come on Sunday nights, but we decided to do it tonight, decided to do a pop-up. There have been some people asking me, when are you coming back and doing Cooking with Candy? And so we have some Cooking with Candy coming. So if you have a great recipe and you want to share that, and let me know, inbox me, because I would love to do that. We're going to be doing some fun stuff this year. So thank you for popping in. I know some more people are going to come in. I have 3 on YouTube. Who is on YouTube? Okay, good. All right, I'm excited. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, welcome to those who are on YouTube. Make sure that you please do me a favor. Hit subscribe and that notification bell so you can be in the know when we do these episodes, because they're really, really good. If you are new to this platform, what we do is fruitful conversation. Soul-U-Tions. You saw it, Soul-U-Tions, the mix where pain and purpose collide. And basically what it is and what we do here is we talk about the pain in our lives that we have gone through, grown through, maybe going through, but we know that there is nothing missing, nothing broken, there's nothing wasted. And so what we go through directly or indirectly points to our purpose. I am a living testimony of that. And I'm sure so many people who are watching, there are some things that you have gone, and it leads, it has led to your purpose and fulfilling your assignment. Listen, you have been assigned and designed to do something amazing. And so what we go through, it's not for us to buckle, it's not for us to just lay down and just let it happen. We press, we push, we get through it. And guess what? When you come out of it, when you get through it, it is going to be an incredible testimony, and it's going to help someone else. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're, in the working in the body of Christ, whether you're in the marketplace, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer. I mean, there are people who have amazing testimonies to whereas they had to fight or they went through some things, but on the other side, how many times have you heard a story, even with athletes, and they talk about how they have to break their bodies down to build their bodies up to be successful and to do what they need to do, and their inspiration, whether they're a basketball player who's inspiring that little boy or that little girl who has a dream of playing basketball, whether it is the business owner, whether it is, the preacher. There's a little boy that I love. I forgot his name, but he's a little boy and he has it. And one of the things he says is "back up, devil." And I just love that. But he comes from a generation of preachers. So what we go through and what we grow through ultimately points to our purpose, and it also is a testimony, and it inspires someone, and that is what we do here. It is information, inspiration to transformation. And what does that mean? Tonight we are going to talk about a rare disease. And if you've been following me for some time, I've had people who are just talked about domestic violence. I've had individuals sexually assaulted. I've had individuals who had an autistic child. I've had people who have overcome and drug addiction. So many incredible stories that have been such a blessing to so many people. And I've heard those testimonies. And it started with me, and I'll get into that later. But the whole premises behind what we do is to give you information, to inspire you, to transition your mindset about that particular topic or subject that we're talking about. And everyone who comes on, they are sharing their testimony and their experience with that in mind. With that in mind, to inspire you, to teach you, to help you change your thought process concerning maybe what you are facing or may face, or what you're going through or may have to go through at some point in your life. And so you can think back and you can go back and say, you know what, I heard a story, I heard a testimony, I heard about this. And you can go back on it and be inspired by that particular person's testimony. So that's what we do, that's what we're about. And I'm excited to get back in the scheme of things and get back rolling into it. It's been quite some time. And I have to be honest with you. And one of the things about me is I'm very, very transparent. For those who are watching for the first time, I remember hearing in my heart that it's time for us to transition to transparency. And so I'm a very transparent person. So I have to tell you today, I was a little nervous, and I was like, Lord, it's been so long. But at the same time, very, very excited, because this young lady and I talked, gosh, for how long, Ray? Maybe about almost 2 hours last night, just talking and going back and forth about her story and her growth and the information. And it was just so enlightening. So I'm so excited about that. So again, if you are just coming in, welcome, welcome, welcome to Soul-U-Tions, the mix where pain and purpose collide. Without further ado, is there anybody? I want to be able to see everyone. Please comment, let me know where you are coming in from. Make sure to share. Her husband is on. Okay. Hey, Larry. Okay. I'm sure she'll talk about that too. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Miss Melissa Jennings Oates. Dr. Melissa. Dr. Melissa. Hello, hello, my dear.
Hello. Thank you for having me on this evening.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Listen, we have to get back, get the clapping and everything back on. Normally when somebody come in, there's like some applause and stuff like that, all that fun stuff. So we're going to do that. We'll have you back, I'm sure. I don't think, Melissa, that we're going to get through everything tonight. I really don't think we are, because we talked such a long time, and you have a plethora, you just so much information, and I was just so inspired last night after I finished talking to you. And I was just like laying and thinking about it. And even like I told you when I got up this morning, just some different things. So I've been thinking about it all day. So I'm really, really excited. So go ahead and introduce yourself to those who don't know you, Miss Dr. Melissa. I got to practice saying that.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, so thank you again, Solutions, and to my baby's godmother, um,
Yes.
Shonda, Shonda, aka Candy.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I'm Dr. Melissa Oates, and I am a native of Hickory, North Carolina.
Hmm.
I have been in Georgia with my family for the past 10 years, with about 3 years interjected into that where we moved to Orlando for a little bit. So within that time, I have been in the field of education, and I've taught for, I'd say, over a period of about 18 years, with 12 of those years being in public education
Hmm.
across North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida.
Hmm.
So I've been able to build some transferable skills in the field of education.
Hmm.
I've dropped in some counseling in there, some psychology, just all things that really help to develop and grow the youth of
Yes.
today, and then also to help and collaborate with other educators and anyone who's working with you. So I'm a minister, first woman of God,
Mm.
um, yes, and then I'm a wife and a mother, and
Yes.
a creative. I am a musician. I'm an author. Um, I'm
Yes.
really
Congratulations on your book. Yeah.
Thank you,
Again.
thank you. Yeah, so I'm really whatever God calls me to be at
Yes.
the appointed time and season. So
Yes.
I'm willing
Yes.
with my yes to just
Yes.
step into whatever He has for me to do.
Yes. Well, today we are going to talk about several things. I want to get into, and I want you to share with us, your inspiration behind everything, now that you've told us who you are, and expressed, what you do. What's the inspiration behind? What was the inspiration behind your education and everything that you do today?
So for the field of education, the fivefold ministry, teaching is within that. And I do feel like I was called in the ministry of teaching. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Even from a young age, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. Um,
Mm.
Now, over time, experience and influence of other teachers helped me decide, what specific area to teach in. So
Mhm.
I started out in the area of business and marketing, which
Okay.
really helped with the psychology side of who I am, because I was able to help build character,
Yeah.
particularly in marketing, using all of those pieces that helps market yourself and then be able to market to others to be able to be influential. So that's really where it all started from, just knowing that I wanted to help and serve others and help them understand and know what I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um
How long have you been teaching?
again, this is year 12 in public ed, and a total of 18 years in the field of education, which I
Wow.
started in early childhood. So I
Mhm.
was fortunate to start in the infant room in child
Mhm.
care development. And
Wow.
I was able to start with the foundation of the child.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
taught all the way up to 12th grade, and I've also helped with first year entry into college in JUCO.
Mm. Mhm. So
Yeah.
you really have a lot of knowledge as far as uh children and seeing kids, and particularly um one of the things that we're going to talk about, because one of the things that I'm leading up to is mental health, and this month is mental health
Yes.
month. So we want to talk about that. Um, I see a lot of difference with my children being adults, with children in the community and where I work. I see such a difference in the mindset and the culture today of our youth. How would you, with the time that you have taught, and I'm sure there's maybe some other teachers that are on here, what are some differences that you have seen within the time span, of your experience with the children, the culture of the children, and the mental health of our youth?
I would say there's been a shift to where relationships have been the top priority of children's needs, and social emotional learning has become a top tier need. So the social emotional and relationship, it kind of all just goes together. I believe
Mhm,
before you can teach math, social studies, science, and English, or marketing or business, you have to reach with those relationships so that the child can gain trust. um,
mhm.
I know old school teachers would probably say, "Hey, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to
Right,
teach you. I'm not
right,
here to be your friend." But
right,
these
right, right,
days, you may have the kid who comes in with, "Hey, bruh,
right,
hey,
right,
sis,"
right.
and that's the initial mindset. So
Yes.
sometimes, of course you establish who you are as a professional, but
Mhm,
you know that during these days you can reach the child much more when you reach them where they are at, and then
mhm.
bring them up to your standards,
And
not
one of
lessening your professionalism, but at least being open
Yes.
to meet
I know
anyone.
one of the things that we talked about last night, you were saying how, with COVID, how that made a difference with the social skills and
Yes.
even your technique and how you approach, the children today. Talk a little bit about that.
So I did notice a shift. I was actually in Florida, in Orlando, when the pandemic hit, and
Mhm,
I think Orlando was shut down probably for fourth quarter of 2020. So that was March 16 when it hit
mhm.
through May. Um,
Okay.
However, in August we were back at it.
Oh,
We had our
wow.
mask. Yes, we had our mask on and all the things. Of course, we had to build trust with the students to let them know, hey, we're going to be safe. Teachers did all that they could do with their protective equipment. We had the shields up, we had
Yeah.
all the things. But I think the biggest thing, particularly when I moved back to Georgia, when things were opening back up, was just the trust of being able to interact with other people. So, as a marketing teacher, my pedagogy, or my way of teaching, was always grouping, small groups,
Mhm.
interacting, project-based learning, teamwork, collaboration.
Right.
However, when the pandemic hit, the children started isolating.
Wow.
So I had to spend a lot of time, went to some trainings, just to be able to reach the child to trust others again.
Mhm.
Be able to now teach marketing with those solid handshakes. Okay, so how do I teach that now when they don't want to touch each other?
Right.
Because we
Right.
told them no contact, 6 feet apart. Um,
Right.
so how do I now approach the business aspect? That was a challenge. Um,
Yeah.
and I can't really say that it's fully reset now.
Right.
Some of the children were comfortable with being in their rooms with the lights off, with the LEDs around the ceiling. Um,
Mhm.
Outskirts of their rooms. So
Yeah.
now they have to come into a bright, fluorescent lighted room or lit room, and now learn, and now they're forced per se to work with other people.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
just the psychological piece of dealing with, it's okay now to work with others. You are better together. You
Mhm.
know, two strong minds are better together. We can build, with someone else. You're not an island. Um,
Right.
so yeah, that's probably the shift that I've
Mhm.
seen since the pandemic, just building trust again.
Yeah.
Um, and that's not just with the children. That's also with the adults as well.
Yes. Let's stand by for 1 second. Someone said they can't hear. She said that she cannot hear. So I want to make sure that everyone hears and everything is good. Maybe something went out. Hold on 1 second, Melissa. I'm sorry. Let's do a pause. Technology. You just gotta love it. Let's go. So, and we'll work on that. So, with that being said, how one of the things that we talked about too is you talked about the words and how words were beneficial with building that relationship and with that trust with
Yeah.
the students. And we're gonna, I know where you guys be patient with us because we are going to get into Melissa's testimony. But one of the things that really blessed me was, and what we talked about, and again, because we're in mental health month, how relevant it is for us to be able, whether we are in the career space of an educator or whether it has to do with our own children, our grandchildren, this information is imperative for the social, the growth, because when you're so isolated so long, and even like when we talked about as far as social media, these type of things can really cause a lot of distractions. And again, Melissa, you talked about imposter syndrome. Talk a little bit about that as well. Like, what are some of the tools and some of the things that we can do, even outside of being an educator, to help our young people, with their mental health and with their and being more social, and just to help them
So
in
I
that
feel
area.
like So I feel like with the isolation that occurred, that also isolated confidence. Um,
Mhm.
that isolated. Now, this is not all
Right,
children,
right,
but this
right.
I noticed it was a thing. That wasn't more so a thing before. Um,
Mhm,
I would have some of my kids who would come into marketing and they would be like, I don't know if marketing is my forte.
mhm,
And we have to do presentations in here. We
mhm.
have to speak. We have to go to competitions. I was advisor over an organization called DECA. So with those competitions, we would send the kids out for competition in different categories: finance,
Mhm.
sports, media, hospitality, and tourism. And they had to dress the part, and they had to have elevator pitches, and they had to be ready to go
Wow.
on a fly. um, so when the pandemic happened, I noticed it was just a pull. Even the most quietest kid could come into my classroom, and by the end of the semester, they were ready to, stand before their peers or stand before whoever, guests who were coming into the building, or when we went to the competitions, they were good and solid. We went over strategies that would help them overcome different anxieties and different things like that. So I did use some of those strategies when we were returning back into the classroom. Right now, I'm actually fortunate to teach in middle school for the first time.
Okay.
Totally different ball game.
Yeah.
Um, when you're coming from the world of high school and lower grades, each subgroup of ages, they do have their own personalities. So I'm
Mhm,
fortunate to come into middle school and kind of just even build their confidence in different areas.
mhm,
Um,
mhm.
with them, they're not in high school yet to really worry about adulting yet. So,
Right,
um, they have to kind of get the buy-in of why it's important to be able to articulate on yourself, be able to present yourself well. They're pretty much believing it because you're telling them, versus the 18-year-old or the 17, 6-year-old who has to get ready for an interview for a job.
right.
Their situations are a little bit more relevant um
Mhm.
and tangible. So it's been interesting, getting that confidence built in the words. And it's key what I just said. And I go back to my own life. A lot of my experiences, um in life with teachers, a lot of times when I did have low confidence, it was because of a teacher, or
Yeah.
because of my mom or my dad's words that
Yes.
said, in affirmation, you can do it because you are
Right.
Melissa. You know,
Right. Right.
remember who and whose you are.
Right. Right.
You have this gift, so people pouring and speaking, life that matters. And
Mhm.
I noticed that when I worked in certain areas, inner city, Title 1, different things like that, I took it for granted that every child had that experience at
Mm.
home. So I always made it my intentional practice every single day to be at my door greeting the students with, hey queen, hey king, how are you today? Today's going to be a
Mhm.
phenomenal day in this class. And you're
Wow.
going to bring forth whatever gift that you were assigned to bring on today. Although I can't speak church because of church and state, I still found a way to
Yeah.
speak those affirmations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
affirmation. So then
Okay.
I can release that easily. It's very easy for me to release affirmations.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a builder. So
Okay.
I know that's what the kids love. We praise and we do the things. I'm also a PBIS coach, which is positive behavior intervention systems over
Okay.
at my middle school. And that's the thing. We praise more than we have the negatives.
Yes.
So I've found that a lot of our children today, they love being empowered. They love being poured into with good words.
Mhm.
A lot of them are
Mhm.
hearing so many negative things. They even
Mhm.
joke and laugh at the negative things, but they're
Wow.
not hearing enough positive things.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's what builds character. That's what
Yes.
brings the confidence.
Yes, yes. And I think that that's something that we can walk away with as we see the children who have to, go back into, because one of the things that we also talked about was they have to go out here and live in society. They have to
Yes.
be in the workplace, or if they're going to go to college. And so social skills and saying, like you said, those words of affirmation, and also making sure that they're that mentally, because I think a lot of time I call them like little people, because I believe that a lot of times we forget, especially as parents and even as adults, we forget sometimes that they have feelings, they have emotions, they have thoughts, they have struggles. There's things, like you said, like the imposter syndrome, there's things that they go through, and that we need to pay attention to that. Like we really need to pay attention to this generation, and this next generations and the generations to come, because they're smart. Like these kids, even, I see babies working technology, but at the same time, okay, you may be smart in that area, but if you can't speak to someone, or if you're so caught up in social media and you don't have any social skills, or you can't navigate, a conversation, that is not good. And I think that it's important for us, as adults, and like yourself as educators, and any educators that are on, or just parents and grandparents, to be able to, I love that you said that you're saying, hey queen, hey king. Those are some things that we can do when they come home from school.
Right.
Hey queen, hey king, how was your day today? And so and then you said that your parents, spoke that into you. um so, with that being said, it's kind of hard to segue into, because I'm having such a good time talking about the kids and teaching and all that stuff. But with you, as a person, what you have been through, even going through, and how you had to speak to yourself, and how you had to affirm yourself for what you had went through. Talk a little bit about your health condition, and how did that affect your kids too? Because you sound like that you're an amazing teacher. And so with your health, what happened with you with your health, how that affected you, and how did it affect your students, and then even coming back.
So I'll go ahead and bridge. I like how you kind of transition that. So not only have I taught my children or my students, well, I first taught at home. My daughter, she'll be 21 this year. So, and I
Mhm.
also have a 2-year-old. But
Yeah.
something that I have laid as a foundation with my husband at home is that yes, affirmational words are important, but the fact of life is you may not get poured back into
Yeah,
into this
yeah.
life. I've told my students, we do a great job from teaching our children new words. Good job. My son loves Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know who that is, but there's a lady who has a show that's on YouTube, and
Okay.
she teaches pre-K and preschool fundamentals
Okay.
and the alphabet, the numbers, songs, and different things like that. And she has a high pitched voice, so she'll say, "We're gonna do the alphabet today.
Yeah.
Good job." So she's done. So the children are learning. Or I think about when my son took his first steps. It says, "Mom, good job."
Yeah,
We
yeah,
do
yeah.
those when they get excited. They go to pre-K, and we're using those same um tones, and we're using those same energetic motives. Everything's bright and colorful and beautiful for learning. They go to elementary school, they get that consistency there, that high, tone teacher. Hey guys, how are you? It's circle time. They're
Mm.
still getting the energy and all the things. You shared with your friends, good job. They're getting
Right.
all these words of affirmation all the way through elementary school. We get to middle school, and around sixth grade, we're still, rewarding them for positive behavior. We're still rewarding them with good job. You walked on the right side of the hallway this,
Yeah.
today. Good job. You used your manners, good character. So we're still affirming. High school, still affirming. And then we get to adulting, and it's like, um, okay, you showed up today. Good job.
Like you're supposed to be here. Yeah.
Good job. Now, mind you, I have a phenomenal principal. So
Right.
he's like, good job, for 100% attendance. He does a very good job of that. I'm talking about overall. I'm just
Right.
talking about society with adults. I've even heard in church.
Yeah.
Like, not my church, but
Yeah.
in church universal, like,
Yeah.
no, it's what you're supposed to do. You don't always need a pat on the back. Do it unto God. And so at what point do we just say, look, you have to be able to encourage yourself at some point? Because what happens whenever you're a worker, you're being there for everybody else, you're pouring out to everybody else, and you go home even when you didn't feel like it, you really wanted to say no, you said your yes, and then you came home and you were exhausted. That's what happened to me after having COVID in 22
Okay.
when I was in Florida, pouring, and I didn't recover like I needed to recover. And
Yeah.
I was in Orlando, and I was at, I believe, 5 or 6A school, 3,500 students.
Wow.
I was on the third floor of my building.
Wow.
If the elevator didn't work, I walked the steps.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
cheer coach, and my cheering experience as coach, me and my assistant, we had came in, we were new coaches, so that had its own, reconstruction, stresses. It was a lot, and so I didn't recover like I needed to, I should say, because I kept going. I was in Florida. You had so many days to get yourself together with COVID, and then you had to show back up to work,
Wow.
mask or no mask. And so
Mm.
I saw myself going down, but I was still showing up. I was going to church. I was still going to school. I was doing the things till my mother, I think I even spoke to you. Make sure you're laying on, I think you were saying, make sure you're laying, a certain way,
Right.
take that
Right.
zinc, take the
Yes.
different things. And so
Yes.
I had you, and I had my mom just, constantly pouring, like, you have to take care of yourself. You have to do
Right.
things. You're in Jersey, my mom's in North Carolina. My
Right.
husband's still holding down the fort.
Yeah.
My daughter actually, helping me a lot as my husband traveled. So I'm noticing, like, wait, sometimes I'm finding myself just being me. It's just me, and I'm having to take care of myself. and it's me and Jesus alone, and it's me and my mind and my headspace, that I have to make sure that I stay centered and I don't get discouraged while I'm still pouring out to everybody else. And everybody's seeing my smile, but no one's stopping to actually see how I'm really doing. Half of the time I can't even breathe.
Wow. From
Yes,
not being it from not fully recovering
I'm
from
not fully
COVID.
recovering like I should have.
Right. But
Yes,
still
like I
feeling like that
should
you have
have.
to serve and you have to do and you have to go. And that's something that that is really, really important because it really leads up to this rare disease that came to fruition, or you
Right.
the doctors told you, your process. So talk about that.
Right. So my mom and my dad, they flew down to Orlando because they were getting tired of just looking at me on the phone. I think my
Okay.
mom had WhatsApp. And
Yeah.
so she was like, "It's so glitchy. I have to come and see your face."
Yeah.
So she was like, "You're gonna have to get home because I don't know about this thing about your husband Larry traveling and you're being here by yourself. There's no family here whatsoever." I'm like,
Wow.
"Mom, I have work family." She said, "Girl, I know how you are. You don't like people in your house
Right.
moving around and doing the things.
Yeah, yeah.
Home." And Lyric is still working on the things. I'm like,
You're
"Oh
right.
my gosh." But Michaela, she's established. She's doing this and she's doing that. I don't want to change. Girl, she needs a mama.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was like, oh. So what we did, I talked to Larry, and we really had a heart to heart. And so the best that he could do, they were doing some changes and some shifts in his job with all of the pandemic thing. And they
Mhm.
did ask him at one point if he wanted to be moved back up to the Savannah area. At the time, we had said no when he was initially asked because, again, we were good. Michaela was thriving in Orlando.
Right,
She was able to
right,
go to Disney World every weekend.
right.
We were
Yeah,
good.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
when you're in Orlando or Florida, you get a season's pass.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
we were so good.
Yeah.
So, but the reality was I was not doing well in my health. So,
Mm.
and come to find out, I was developing something called long COVID. And what it was,
You said say that again?
so
Lung?
long COVID.
Long.
Long COVID. So
Okay,
that was the diagnosis at the
okay,
time. I don't think it's a actual medical term, but that's what it was being called when I was in Orlando. And they were like,
okay.
just continue to build your immunity system, do what you have to do. Wear your mask even when no one else has it. I mean, it's like 90 degrees in Orlando, but
Right, 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 right.
still do what you have to do, social
Yeah,
distance, do what you have to do. I asked my husband, "Hey, is that offer still on the table for Savannah? Because I know right now North Carolina is not an option, but at least I'll be a little closer to my parents. I'll be a little closer to some church family, that I had developed, and they had adopted me in Savannah area. So I'll be close to somebody. I won't mind if they come into my house, if they
right,
go into
right, right,
my
right. 'Cause
cabinets
yeah,
and my
yeah,
refrigerator, you
yeah.
know." So he worked some things out. We got back to the Hinesville area. And actually, this time I got my job back in Savannah. However, I wanted to be closer to my church home because that's where my new family was outside of my blood family. So if something happened to me and my daughter was there, at least I would have somebody from my church home who can come and bust down my door.
Right, 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 and get to you.
Get me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, that at least would give some sense of, peace of mind. So,
right,
got back in, we got settled, we moved. Oh my goodness. And then the move back, that was like a faith walk in itself. We
right.
came with no money.
Wow. Yeah, well, we know
Zero.
about that. Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah,
no savings. There
yeah.
was none of the things because we had exhausted it initially when some of the things were happening with COVID. So,
Right,
we went totally off of faith. My
right,
mother sent money,
right, 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 right.
for gas,
Yeah,
just to
yeah,
get us to and from. Um,
yeah.
and we exhausted our resources. So that was a stress in itself. we came and got settled, and I started having even more issues with my respiratory. So much so, when I went up the flight of stairs at a school that I once worked at and had no issues, I would go up the flight of stairs and I felt like my lungs were literally um like going out of my chest, and my
Wow.
heart was pounding by the
And
time I
how
got to
many
the top of
steps? How
the
many
stairs.
steps was it?
This flight of stairs, I would say it's about 10 to 15
Okay.
stairs.
Wow. Okay.
But at the
Wow.
time, I'm what, 35,
Yeah.
not I'm not old, I'm not older.
Right. You're young.
So,
You're young. Yeah.
yeah, I was just a cheer coach
Right.
running with my
Exactly.
girls.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
asked them to do anything that I wouldn't do with them.
Of course. Of
So, and I
course.
would tell, if I can do this, y'all better come on.
Right. Right. Right.
All
Right.
30
Right.
of them.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yes, so I would get to the top, and I'm telling you, you asked what my students would do. I remember like some of my boys, the bigger boys, like literally lifting me off the floor, and taking my bags and just helping me sit down just on the floor.
Wow.
Yes, and this is when I first moved back to Savannah. I would
So
call
you
my
were
husband.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
So you were having these symptoms. So in Florida, you moved back. They said you had long COVID. You
Hmm.
started having these symptoms because and you're thinking at this time that it's just you're still recovering from COVID.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So
So
COVID
when
was January. I moved back in February. So it was just a month's time.
it's just a month's time. So
Hmm.
how much time between, you know, that February and you going through, like, how long did you go through that process still not knowing what was going on? What was the symptoms? What was actually happening?
So while I was having the heart issues, I did my husband came, he got me. We carpooled when we had came back. So he got me, he sent me over to the local hospital. They did all the vitals. They ordered me an inhaler. They were just saying that I was short of breath. They did say that my blood pressure was up, and that I needed to follow up with my primary care physician. I hadn't gotten a doctor yet, so
Right.
we have a community doctor here. They are located in the direct town next to us, and there's one here. There's about two that's close by, and so I went to the community doctor's office, and immediately when I went there, she was saying to me, she was like, "Are you having problems with your sleep? Are you having headaches? You know, do you have trouble with being tired the next day after a full night's rest?" Like, she was
Mhm.
just going through all the things. I need to get some labs. Um, so she did all the vitals. Whenever the labs came back, she was like, I want to get you a sleep study done. So I got the study done. Once I had that done, they refer me to the lung specialist. And with the lung specialist, that's when they had diagnosed me with sleep apnea
Okay.
from the respiratory pieces. And they were saying that my blood count was low, and they were explaining, saying that my blood cells were kind of similar to having transfer trucks with beds. There's a lot of the transfer trucks lined up on the road, but they have like no storage inside of them.
Wow.
So, and they were saying that there were some extremities that were related to COVID, that was they were seeing similarities in that.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that was one issue. Now I have to get the sleep apnea checked out. Well, I did all the things. I did the CPAP machine. I did the albuterol for exertion. Just to get up to my classroom, I was either using the elevator, or if I didn't feel comfortable using the elevator on that particular day, I would take one pump at the bottom of the stairs, and I get upstairs, and then I take another pump. And
Wow.
that was from March until about May, until my husband and I were going somewhere, and I went upstairs, up a flight of stairs, and it happened again to me again, to where I could not breathe. Like, he had to help me to the car. Um, and at that point, I'm like, look, I have to get some type of relief with this. This is not okay. Also, he would kind of joke with me because I could get in the car and it would only be like 5 minutes. I'd be knocked out sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes and I'm out.
Wow.
And then in the midst of the road, like, I would wake up choking. Yeah,
Wow.
it was crazy to when my breathing had kinda just stopped for a second. So, again, there were issues that my body was telling me something's wrong, and it's farther than what you are doing. I told my pulmonologist, the lung doctor, I said, "I'm doing all the things you're telling me, but I'm still having the issues, and it seems like it's getting worse. My husband's starting to travel, and I'm having to commute an hour, sometimes 2, and I don't feel comfortable driving my daughter, that long. And at nighttime she has games and she has athletic things that I'm responsible for getting her to and fro, at night, and I don't feel safe anymore." So he was like, "Okay, we're going to go now from the lung specialist. I'm going to send you next door to the cardiologist." Told him what was going on. He was like, "You know what? In the morning, is there any way that you can bring some sneakers? I want to do a stress test on you. I'm going to put you on the treadmill."
Okay.
So I was like, "Okay." And I'm thinking to myself, I've heard some family members having to do that and they were older. So I was like, what's going on? I called my mom. She was like, just do what the doctor is telling you to do. I'm praying with you. She prayed with me and for me. And the next day I went for the stress test. I was 5 minutes in. Okay, I'm stopping it.
Five
You're
minutes. After
5 minutes
5 minutes.
in. 5 minutes in. He's like, okay, I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Wow.
He immediately ordered for me to get an EKG, and I also had to stay a little longer, and they ordered me. I had to go to Savannah. So this was in Hinesville. I had to go to Savannah and get an echo done. So an echo gram done. Uh,
Okay.
so I went and got that, and they had me wait. I had to wait um in the waiting room just for some results. And they basically came back and he said, "Okay, listen, how's your schedule?" I'm thinking to myself, we just started school back.
Mhm.
I was actually helping with the band, marching band at the time. I was a drum major coordinator, and I was helping with woodwinds. And we were about to go to an away game. It actually was our first game. And I remember him saying, "I need to do a surgery on you because
Wow.
from what I'm seeing, I need to go in and I need to make sure I don't have to put stents in."
Wow.
So I'm like, what are you saying?" He said, "I need to do a heart surgery." So I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you
At
serious?"
35. So here you
Yeah.
went through, I have long COVID
Mhm.
to, seeing a pulmonologist
Mhm.
to using albuterol to now going to the cardiologist to going to the cardiologist and doing stress tests 5 minutes. And now they're like, okay, after that, getting the echo. And then after that, okay, now you need to have heart surgery. So now you have the heart surgery.
Yes. So I had the heart surgery, and
And all this time, yours just still operating and doing and just living life and
yeah,
not really realizing that your body is telling you, hey, something is going on. But
right,
because we're so conditioned and we think more sometimes about our obligations and we think more about other things and other people and fulfilling, that we don't even consider our own health. And that
right,
is so, I mean, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That
right.
we can work like that. That's how, but that what was happening was that stress was
Yeah.
constantly working on you. So now you have to do this surgery and they want
Mhm.
to do this surgery the same day.
They were wanting to do the same day. However, I was like, "Listen, I have to figure this out. Like, I have to figure it out." And so, it was like, I can't medically tell you to go home right now. I need to do this surgery.
Wow.
Um, he said, I don't know what state your heart's at. I have to go in. So
Wow.
I need to do a catheterization. He gave me the procedures and all the things. He said I can probably your blood pressure is stabilized to the point to where I could probably go a week out. I was like, name it, claim it. Whose report will you believe? Oh, I don't need a surgery, you know. So I'm like, I'm gonna be honest.
Yes,
I
yes.
was like, you know what? I gotta pray about this. I gotta
Yeah,
make sure my insurance is good. I'm like making up all these excuses because I'm like heart surgery. You know,
yeah.
so I was like, let me think about this. Joke for me and my husband was the doctor was like, well, until then, no activity. We were like, what activity?
Yeah,
So the joke for my husband was like, oh no, this is serious.
yeah,
He said,
yeah,
"What you mean? What do you mean activity?" He
yeah.
said, "Oh no, y'all not doing nothing,
Oh,
nothing at
wow.
all. Because if she does something, she might be gone."
What? Wow.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go back to work? You
So
couldn't.
I took some days off. I did call my principal. I took some time just to breathe for a second. And my husband was traveling at the time. He had actually stopped his travel. I called my mom. I was just trying to get all the things. My daughter was supposed to do some things. Like I'm still trying to make sure
So you're just
it's
trying
still
to
a
get it
test.
like, yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm
So
like,
what
she's got this, she's got that. No, 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 no. This is not, I don't have time for a surgery.
yeah. So when did you like still, right? You see, like you're still like, okay, these going through and not still realizing because we talked about this last night. This is all like still stress. Like,
Mhm.
even though you're facilitating, it's still adding, stress to you. Okay, so when do you have the surgery?
So I was
I'm
told,
trying in your surgery and your diagnosis, because that was deep to me.
yes, so I was told this on a Thursday. Then the next week on September 6th. Um,
Wow.
so it was a week. Um,
Wow.
and that's me. I'm my dad's child.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I am my
yeah.
dad's child. I don't know if you remember Michaela's first birthday. My dad came to her first birthday with a patch on his eye. And that
Oh,
was from
yes.
him having a stroke and he had Bell's palsy. And he was
Yes.
supposed to go back to the doctor the next day and he did not go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he came to the birthday party.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wow.
I am my father's child, but I
Yeah.
did have to just have a come to Jesus meeting with myself. And
Yeah.
once I
Yeah.
figured all the things, Michaela was a drum major that year. So I think I was like, I don't want anything changing from her. This is her first year being a drum major. She's got a show. She's got a show to perform, and I have kids who are counting on me to, coach them through this week. I have freshmen who are coming into their freshman year for the first time, and I told them I was going to be there to, to give them their high five going through the gate. I didn't want to fail anybody.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I was still going through the motions at the house to where even getting up, all of a sudden I would feel like I was about to fall out just to get out of the bed. So I was like, you know what,
Wow.
I gotta do it. So I scheduled for that day because he said the only next time that he had was that week out. So I went ahead and I scheduled it. Um
Wow.
I went in with faith. They had to do a dye test on my kidneys to make sure that everything was good. Because if they couldn't get through my arm, and I don't know, maybe you can see, you may
Mhm.
not be able to see, but the site area where they went in, if they couldn't get all the way through from my arm up through my heart, they were going to have to go through my leg. Um,
Right.
so they prepared my leg, they prepped my leg, just in case if they had to go through my leg. And but they were successful with my arm. And I remember waking up and my husband, he was praying over me. And I remember the doctor knocking and he said I went in. He said, thankfully, I did not have to put in any stents or anything.
Mhm.
However, you have a condition, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but you have something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And when
Hi.
he said that, I was like, "I have what?"
You're right.
Like I have something.
Right, right, right.
It was like a hit hit
Yeah.
to my
And
chest.
especially like, heart surgery at 35. You said you was 35
So
and then this diagnosis.
that was 23. So it's what, 26 now, 3 years ago. So 30 37 is when I had the
Wow.
surgery. Yeah,
Wow.
37.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, so talk about this diagnosis. Just I want to
So
try to share this information because
yeah.
it's so rare, and when you told me about it and we had the conversation, I was just like, wow, because I
So
had
when
never
he
heard about it.
Yeah, so when he explained it, he said, "Do you have anybody in your family who has congestive heart failure? Do you have anybody with murmurs?" He was just going through the things, and I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." My head would go down like every time. Yes,
Wow.
yes, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. And
So
so,
so let's pause right here real quick. I feel like I'm running out of time. Um these are and this is where like the information, and we hear your story, but having heart murmurs and any you know family members with congestive heart failure or different things, these are some things that if it is in your family, in your DNA, it could be hereditary. This rare disease, if someone is having some of these same symptoms, because your symptoms, they was treating you really for asthma.
they really were.
They were
I
treating you
spent
for asthma.
6 months, and then come to find out, now that I'm on the right medication, I had to stay away from albuterol. It
Right.
totally works against everything that my heart needs. Um, I cannot mix the two, or I will go into cardiac arrest immediately.
And this is why, like, this is so, I know we kind of went a little, but this is why this is really important, because um you didn't know, of course, and I think, and definitely this is why you're here. This is why we're
Right.
having this conversation. We're
Mhm.
having this conversation because there could be somebody who's being treated for asthma, and they have heart conditions that's in their family, that's hereditary, and I know I had not heard of, what's the abbreviation for H
HCM. So
HC
HCM.
HCM, right? And so this is really, really important. So if you are watching, and I know we talked about a lot of stuff, but this is kind of like the meat. This is when you're cutting the steak after you've eaten your vegetables and your starch. Um, this is really important because if your family has a history of any type of heart conditions, and you find yourself and you've heard these symptoms that Melissa and what she was going through, this is something that you may want to bring up to your pulmonologist or your cardiologist, or if you don't have neither one, speak to your physician, because we have to be our own advocates. So
Right.
he tells you that you have this particular condition. Now, what?
So, he put me on medication. So he put me on metoprolol, which is a beta blocker.
Okay, yes.
He basically said, "No stress. You
No
cannot
stress.
stress at all whatsoever." And I'm like, "That is not realistic." I'm like,
Mhm.
"You tell me how I can not stress
Right.
in today's
Right.
society." He was
Right.
like, "You can go through therapy, you can, do what you need to do. Do you have a vice?" He said, "Do you exercise?" He was just going through all the things. He was very thorough. Yeah, he was very sincere with me. He was like, "You cannot stress. You do not have any room for panic attacks. You don't have any room for high stressful area." I was like, I'm a teacher, right? Um,
Right.
he was
Exactly.
like, "Well, speaking of that, I wouldn't even recommend any public service if you can't maintain your stress levels."
And that's kind of crazy because for you, I mean, here we hear the introduction and the beginning of who you are. Basically, when you say you're a teacher and you say that you've done all of these 18 years and you've gotten all this education and you're a minister and you serve and you give, that's innately who you are. So now the doctor is telling you, okay, who you are, you got to change all of that. Like you can't do none of that that you have passion for. How did you navigate through that?
I had to take a deep breath. He had even said no more music. I couldn't play saxophone. Um,
Wow.
he said that if you take in so much air, you could potentially pass out, or you're working your heart too much. So everything that I knew that I was, my identity was becoming compromised.
Hmm.
So at that point, I did have to I went through a heart search. Because I'm like, Lord, everything I know to be um I'm lost right now. I don't know what to do at this point.
So
Um
let me just interject real quick because before you get there, because this kind of leading into the mental health part because of what you had to go through. But share with us the statistics as far as HCM, what that what that is, and the
okay.
statistics, and what
And
that
so
looks
to
like
even
also
give
within the
what it
women of color.
is,
Okay, yes,
so when he told me that I had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, basically I had to ask him what is that.
right,
Because after hearing, are there family members with murmurs? Have you had any congestive heart failure or anything like that? Because I'm like, are you saying I have heart failure? He said, no, what it is, you have a heart valve disorder.
a
And
heart
so
valve disorder. Okay,
yes, and it is congenital. So it's something that I was born with. It's not something that I did. It's not something that I could have possibly did to myself in order to gain this.
okay,
What it is a genetic heart condition where heart muscles become too thick, making it harder for blood to flow through.
okay.
Yes, and it does affect about 1 in 200 to 500 people, and I just so happen to be one of them.
Wow, and it's considered a rare disease, of course.
It is, and a
Yes,
lot of times people find post after a heart attack, after delivery with the baby, after all the things. So I thank God um
yes,
that I was ahead of it. Um
okay.
if all I've had to do to find out, I want to say all I've had to do because it was a lot. If my experience was the respiratory side, the fatigue, the fog brain, the memory loss, the all those things, if that's what I had to experience to get to the diagnosis, I thank God for that, because there's some people who had to have heart failure. There's some
Right.
people who had to be hospitalized for months in order to find out that they had the HCM.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so,
And
a
what is
lot
the statistic with people of color?
so the statistic with that, all races are affected. However, Black and Hispanic communities, they may face more underdiagnosis with it.
Mm,
And that's due to, like, how we keep going as a people of color. Take a bare aspirin, if your heart is hurting.
right. Wow. Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't really do all the things. Girl, sit down for a little bit. Drink you
Right.
some water. Go get you some
Yeah,
ginger ale.
real. Go get some ginger ale fix everything. Yeah, go get have a
Yeah,
glass of ginger ale, right? Yeah, it fixes
seriously. I
everything.
mean, that's
Yeah.
what I did for years.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
would
Just
have
go
never.
rest.
That's why I never, like, I didn't register that I needed a heart surgery. It wasn't adding up. I'm like,
Right.
you just want to make some money at this point.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
You
It,
know,
but
I
it
thank God.
it's saying that, but still being sick. That's the thing, right? I mean, let's like for real, like you just want to
Yeah,
make some money, but but I'm going through, and we have to. Wow, it's taking care of ourselves and
it
taking a
is.
pause and stopping. So it's underdiagnosed because with people of color, and that is and it is important for us to know our background, our
Right.
background. Okay, so you go through the surgery, you educate yourself about the diagnosis, and then you come out of the surgery. Now what?
So
You
where
take
we
something
are
new.
is the doctor said that I could manage it with no stress, with the beta blocker, also with the diuretic that he gave me because I was having a lot of fluid retention. When I tell you, I was all the way in a size 10 shoe. I was up to 250 pounds
Wow.
and it was fluid.
All fluid.
All fluid. I was dieting, I was exercising, I was doing all the things, but it was my heart the entire time. It was my heart.
Your
I
heart
was
the whole time. It was your heart.
yes. I could come home and my ankles would be as big as my calves.
Wow.
Yes.
And it was your heart because what was happening is the blood wasn't flowing
It was
through
not
your
flowing
body.
at all. And
It
this
was
is
not
prior to
flowing.
the surgery.
Right, prior to the surgery. So
Yes.
this is what so it's important that we know, what this is and what the symptoms are and what the results of that is. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because what that is that the blood is not flowing
It wasn't flowing.
properly through your body.
And
So,
mentally, I had went through a thing even with the weight gain. I didn't
yes.
take pictures. I didn't
Yeah.
I hated taking pictures.
You
Um,
all hate you don't hate them now, girl, because I see you all the time looking real cute.
I couldn't take but even now I force myself now.
Real.
Even at church, I have to get myself out of this mindset because we always have a backdrop at church. And I know my pastor, my first lady, hey, go out there and take a picture with your family. I'll go right past it. I'll
Wow.
still would do it because of my mindset because um I never accepted my weight because of how much work I was trying to do to get off of the weight and it wasn't working. Now
Wow.
I always put the fact that I had something called PCOS, that's another conversation for another day. I thought it was that of why I
Wow.
could not lose the weight. So I thought it was an endocrinologist thing, like a
Wow.
hormonal imbalance.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I
In
was
the
doing
whole
all the
time.
things. Yeah, that's a whole nother
But I'm
conversation
saying in
for
the
another
whole
day.
time it has something to do with just your blood not
Right.
flowing through your body and then it
Yes.
affecting you. And we probably have to do a part two. But even as far as you said, like mentally, even we didn't even get into tap into that mentally, like you were saying, how you had to like say, okay, my heart, I have to have surgery. What are you talking about? I mean, I remember doing that over me having to have surgery on my finger, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine like your heart. So he gives you the diuretic, you 250 pounds, a size 10, and now
Yes.
he says no stress. So you have been
No stress.
intentional about not stressing.
Yes, and before in my past, I had lost a set of twins. So I knew the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, so do I need to go and get medication because there's no way I can just have no stress. I'll need something that blocks out everything, and that's medical.
Right.
However, I remember the feeling when I did try some medication, and that
Yeah.
was for whenever I had lost some twins in 2012 and I went in a dark place. And
Yeah.
so what I mean by dark place, I became quiet. I was just not myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, what's wrong with my body? I'm broken. I'm still young in my
Wow.
marriage.
Yeah.
Is my husband still gonna want me? Because
Wow.
those are our kids. We had a child before we got married. Yes, we got married to each other, but my mom is Pentecostal old school. My husband
Yeah.
wasn't in the operating room with me.
Right. Right.
When I had my daughter, he didn't
Right.
cut the cord. He didn't do the
Right.
things. I was like, Lord, we need a second chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to
Please,
do it
God.
the
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
way,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was on that, and then losing those twins, I went into a deep depression while
Mm.
still functioning with a smile on my face, showing
Yeah.
up to church, playing saxophone. Um,
Right.
I was doing all the things, but when I would go home, I was broken. Like my
Wow.
husband went through a long period of going through my ups and downs, and still in staying, with my emotional pieces, like going through Walmart through the baby aisles and just boohoo crying when I saw
Wow.
diapers, or
Wow.
being asked to go to a baby shower, boohoo crying, and I'm like,
Right.
why
Right.
isn't that not me?
Yeah.
So I went through that. So I remembered the PTSD of that pill, of how that made me feel, and I was numb. I couldn't think. I was sleepy all the time, and I had to fight my way to wake up the next morning. I would do these little facial exercises to get my smile to go, like, oh, do all the things,
Wow.
face together, so I'd be able to go and like, Lord, you are my strength. I'm doing all these scriptures just to get me through the day. And then everyone, oh, Miss Oaks is so positive. But I was crying inside.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And so again, that's another story for another
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
fostering, and the Lord has sent us some twins. He sent us
I
some foster
remember
kids.
that. I remember
Yes.
that.
I was
Yeah.
at the Favor Center when that happened. And the Lord restored the joy through foster care. And
Yeah.
so I got a new birth of a joy through the children of others. So I got a rebirth even in education. I was looking at children differently, of how my influence could impact even my students. My students even
Mm.
started calling me Mother Oats. Um,
Wow.
so the trajectory of how I looked at education even changed through that experience.
Yeah.
After one or two pill, and normally they say you have to take antidepressants for like at least a process of time for it to kick in. And I didn't even get through that. I just didn't like the first pill, how it made me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
being in control of my feelings.
Right.
So I told my doctor, well, antidepressants are not an option. So
That's
um
off the table.
that's off the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to figure this thing out. He gave me the beta blocker. He gave me the diuretic. I started incorporating diet and exercise again in a different way. So I started noticing some things were shedding off. And he said, oh, and you're going to have to go on a birth control, because pregnancy is not going to be an option for you and your husband at all whatsoever. I'm like, oh, you're good. I have PCOS. Nothing's coming from this body. So
Wow.
yeah, and my husband had his own factors, and so we were like, "We're good." We've been at this thing for 17 years, no kid. I don't think there's anything
Yeah,
coming from
that's
this
it.
anytime soon.
Just say after 17 years, this is yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, if I'm trying to lose weight, I don't want the birth control, because I don't want that, putting more weight on me, because I've
Right.
been there, done that too.
Okay. Okay.
So my body works against me with that. So we went through, no issue. We were having fun again, and
Yeah.
my daughter, she's getting ready for senior year, and that was the next year rolling around. And so I went through a process of getting ready for pre-planning for school, and I felt a familiar feeling. I told my husband,
Mhm.
there's a feeling that I feel. um it doesn't feel right, and it can't be right, because I had this feeling 18, 19 years ago, but it can't be.
It
But
can't
at that
be.
time, I had lost some weight too, so I'm thinking, wait, the doctor said if I lose weight with PCOS, I could get pregnant. I was like, but
Right.
nah, God wouldn't do that to us. We're getting ready to have, we're
A
getting ready
college
to have
student.
empty nest. Yeah, empty nest. So I was like, okay. I kept getting sick, and so here I am. I started school. I was doing a new subject, because I was actually in the process of becoming an administrator. So I wanted to go through the process of being an AP, and where I was, you have to teach content in order to go into administration. So going through that process, Michaela's on her way to college. I have times to be at football games for high school as an AP. I have the time now. I want to fulfill you, and
Right.
I want to fill up my schedule so I don't miss her so much. You know,
Right.
so
Right.
I was prepared for that. But one day it got the best of me. I'm in the bathroom. I'm sick. I was like, "Look, we gotta go to the store. For some reason, I want to get a test." He was like, "Okay," because I was going through that process of going through pregnancy tests every month. I mean, I was
Right.
doing the early response being $9, $10 for them to be negatives. It was like
Right.
a
Right. Right.
an impulsive or obsession thing at one
At
point.
one point, you're
But
right, right,
with
right.
PCOS, you don't know sometimes. Like you may have missed periods and different things like that. So I'm sorry, there's guys on here, but you probably have wives. So um, I was going through that part and it was just failures every month. So I was like, you know what? It's been a while. Let me just take a test. My husband was downstairs, two in the pack, took one, and I read it and I was like, wait, there must be
So you
something
took
wrong with this
another one.
thing. So I took another one.
Yeah.
And it said positive. I was like, oh Lord.
Wow. Wow.
First thing I thought was my heart.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I'm happy, but wait,
Because
the
they said
doctor
no
said,
stress.
absolutely not.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely not. You're supposed to be on birth control. And we talked him out of him prescribing it.
Wow.
So I called Larry. I was like, hey, Larry, babe, come in for a second. I
Need
was
you to
like,
see something.
I was like,
Need you to check
look,
out something.
he's so funny. He said, when did you get that from Amazon? I was like, "What are you
He
talking
thought you was pranking
about,
him.
Amazon?"
He thought you were pranking him.
He thought I was pranking him. I was like, "No, there's 2. You bought them. You
Yeah.
have the receipt on your phone." He was like
He didn't forgot. He was in shock. He didn't forgot that he bought them.
"What
Wow.
does this mean?" I was like, "What it means?"
What it means. Positive,
He was like,
baby.
but see, even with Michaela, I never had a positive test. So we had never experienced that. I found out I was pregnant through a blood test with her.
Right.
So to see that, it's almost like God had to say, no, I'm going to show you that I am God.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm going to get you through this whole heart thing. So I actually sent a text through the patient portal. It was a Saturday. And I sent a text through the patient portal to my cardiologist. I was like 911.
Yeah, because we have a situation here because
We
you
have a
said no stress,
situation.
no baby. And now baby is saying, hey, yeah,
Right. What do I do? How far
yeah,
am I? This is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
So, my husband fell to the floor. My whole he's 250 some odd,
Wow.
bodybuilder,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
former inside linebacker, fell to the floor crying. I love
Wow.
you so much, baby, if you're watching.
Yeah.
But yes, fell to the floor crying. And I'm like, hey, we gotta figure this out.
Because he's like happy, of course,
He
I'm
is
sure.
happy. He was so
Yeah.
happy.
But there had to be so many uh yeah, happy and concerned at the same time. Okay, I only have 5 more minutes. I
I
want
got
to
you,
get
I
to
got
the
you.
break.
Okay, so with the 5 minutes, with that being said, there was a thing that I went through again, stress, because and I know we are not to be weary and well doing, cast all of our
Yeah.
cares, all the scriptures. I was holding on to those scriptures, but what happened with that was I had this pregnancy test at home, but when I started calling doctors around, they said I had
Um,
to have a confirmed pregnancy test with them. In order to get that, they were scheduling out
wow.
months out, and I'm like, I have a heart condition. I
Yeah.
need to find out what's going. Like my doctor said, I cannot get pregnant.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
This is what we're gonna do. We need to do a part two and just pick up there.
Okay.
We need to pick up there because and so what I would like to do is we're gonna schedule a part two
Okay.
and I want to re like let people know about this diagnosis, but go into this story because I don't want you to rush through it because the baby is such a miracle. Like just the good stuff that we talked about, I
Yes.
really want to share that. And I want it to be an encouragement. I think that there was a lot tonight for us to just hear and process. I think to sum it all up, and we have to do a part two. We have to do a part two. So we're gonna schedule that. But this last few minutes, um, just going back over what we discussed, because the whole thing was to encourage as far as mental health, and also talking about your diagnosis. Let's just give, if you could, um maybe three tools. I know last night I said five and you gave me one, but I think that you can pull out three tools that we can use, just as a people, whether we're in the educational system, whether we're, on our job, whatever capacity that we deal with children in any capacity, Sunday school teacher or whatever, some tools that we can use that will encourage them, and also just to be aware, because I think that when we think of mental health and we think about mental illness, we think about it from an adult's perspective, and we don't think about it, some of the things that a child could be going through, that it can develop into some challenges mentally. So what are some things from your profession, and from what what are some things that we can look for, and what are some tools that we can use, to help? And then also recap the HCM, um um what am I trying to say? The symptoms. I had to look at my husband. The symptoms, because I think that those are important for some people that maybe just be getting on that they can kind of think about.
Mhm.
Because also, even though you were born with that, uh, we need to know about our family history.
Yes. So with the aspect of children, I would say every child is different. Parents can have 5 children, and we all know that each individual child can have their own, specific and individual personality. So
Yes.
I would say the first tip is meeting a child where they are, and then helping them identify
Mm,
their
yes.
why and their purpose. What is the why?
Yes.
Why you're here.
Yes.
So they always know that their presence matters.
So they'll always know that their
Always,
presence matters. I love that. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Um, no one can be you, so you have to show up in your best you.
You have to show up in your best
It may
you.
not be perfect, but you're your perfect you.
Yes, exactly. Okay, that's number one. Number two.
Number two would basically be as an adult to know that I have something that I can pour. Something. I
That's
have
good.
something.
Yes, I
I
love
may
that.
not be your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, your teacher. I may not be the counselor, but as an adult, I've lived enough to
Yes,
give
that's
you
good
something.
to give you something. Yeah. And last one.
The last one would basically to be, and I would say, especially as a faith believer, to just always pray and to always let that child or that the student know that I'm thinking of you. You have
Hmm.
somebody.
Yeah, you
You have
matter.
somebody.
Yeah, yeah. And that's important. And that's a part of that affirmation. Because like what you said, like everybody, all like they love that. You know what I mean? And we love that even as adults. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk real quick about the symptoms of HCM.
Okay, so with the symptoms of HCM, I would say if you have shortness of breath, if you have fatigue, you have the chest pains, you have the palpitations, dizziness. If you ever have those things and you tried everything that there is to try outside of cardiac things or things dealing with the heart, try to get your heart looked at. When you think of breathing, you always think of the lungs, but I never connected that the heart has a lot to do with that. And I know
Wow.
we didn't get to touch on the fact that when my heart got fixed, that's when the blood flowed to every area of my life,
Right,
and my
right.
body per
Yes,
se.
yes,
I
yes.
don't have migraines anymore. I
Right.
can get in the shower. I used to take my shower temperature all the way to the to the hottest level possible, and it was not hot to me. My husband thought it was very weird. Um,
Yeah,
but I would go all the way to the hottest
I do
level.
too. Yeah,
And they do say women do that, but
yeah,
seriously, it was not hot to me at all.
yeah,
But as soon as I had that heart surgery, I mean, it was night and day. The next
yeah,
morning when I went home, I took a shower on the same level. I was like, "Oh my God."
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like it was a thing, and I told my doctor that. He was like, "Your body's working again."
Your bodies. We're
And I
gonna
said,
get
"I
into
don't even
that.
know if it was again.
Yeah,
I've never felt what I feel. Like I could
yeah,
feel my pinky toe.
right.
I never did before."
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. Just hold it, Daddy, because that's how we can go in the whole conversation. So the symptoms, pay attention
Pay attention.
to those
Yes,
areas, and don't just isolate them to it's a lung issue. It could be a heart
it could be
issue.
your heart.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Melissa, thank you so much for coming. And thank you, just for, the conversation and sharing, and being my first back to solutions, having this fruitful conversation. And I hope those who have watched or who's going to watch the replay, I really hope that you're inspired, that you got some type of information, and that you are inspired, and even changes the way how we all think about mental health when it comes to ourselves and when it comes to kids and what we can do within our sphere of influence, because that's what it's about. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you watching. We are definitely going to do a part two. We have to do a part
Yes,
two
they
because
have
I
to find
really want,
out.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they
we
have to
got
find
to
out
get
about
into,
the thing of how me taking care of my son, he actually took care of me. So,
yes. So
yes,
you don't want
that's
to
a
miss that.
spoiler.
Yes, yes, yes. Her taking care of her son actually took care of her while she was carrying him. So you don't
Yeah.
want to miss the part two. You don't want to miss the part two. So I know that it took us a minute to get there, but I believe that somebody got something out of all of it. So I appreciate that. And if you did, I need you to comment. I need you to put some thumbs up. I need you to share it with someone. And also make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because you don't want to miss part two. I promise you, we're going to dive right into it. We're going to get into it, and it's going to be a blessing. Melissa, again, thank you so much for sharing. You have so much inside of you. I mean, we could probably talk every week for a month, and you would still have so much to share. And I just thank you, and I love you, and I appreciate you coming to be with us. Listen, thank you for watching. I look forward to you coming back. Look for the advertisement. And remember, pray always, love relentlessly, and be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. And I will see you next time. See
Thank
ya.
you.